Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Brad from Headbangers Podcast. Today we've got Panagiotis from Dark Affliction on the podcast. If you don't know who they are a one-man black metal band from Greece. They released a great album, The Five Stages of Grief. We get to break down that just how like a tragic incident inspired the album, but how each and every song fits into it perfectly from both emotion, melodies. We talk a lot about black metal, how it's changed over the years, and how sometimes melody can be the new heaviness, as well as what he gets up to in his personal life. A bit about certain albums that inspired what he loves. But yeah, if you like the podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to follow us on streaming services and social media, it's Headbangers Podcast, except for Twitter, which is Headbangers Pod One. Without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome back to the Headbangers Podcast, where your hosts Nathan and Brad. Here today, we're joined by Dark Affliction. How are you doing, man? Start off with.
Nice. It's pretty hot here, as I say before, but all good. All good. We are good.
Amazing. Yeah.
How about you?
So yeah, we're doing good. Yeah, like I said, I'm a bit jealous about the weather, to be honest, because it's pretty cold and rainy here. But oh well, it's what it is. But yeah, so one way like we always like to do an icebreaker on the show is, what's your funniest gig or tour story that you can recall? Or if you haven't gone on tour, what's your funniest just general gig story of one that you've attended?
I think in Creator, yes, in Creator last year, there was a guy with a banana costume, and he
Classic.
was like, yes, he, in every pit, most pit in the middle. I don't know how he survived, but yeah, I think this one. I don't think I can remember something else. Yeah, I think this one.
Oh, amazing.
There's a guy at Bloodstock every year that will dress as Yoshi. And like
Oh.
it's the most jarring shit ever because you'll be like watching a band and you just see Yoshi fly past you crowd surfing. And you're there like, who the fuck was that?
It's cool,
Uh, and the funny thing is, in you are in banana costume. It's pretty hot in summer here. I don't know how he survived really, and in the
Oh yeah.
mosh pits.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I applaud anyone that can do that. Anyone
Yes.
that's in like a big, ridiculous costume in hot weather, in a mosh pit as well. It's like better man than me because the smell of that banana suit after I'd been in it, it would like just destroy all like vegetation around the area. Like
Yes,
grass would
for sure.
die, everything.
yeah,
Yes.
awesome, man. So I want to get into Five Stages of Grief. Because like I said, I was listening to like a few albums that came out recently, and it really struck me, to be honest. Like, yeah, I think it's one of my favorite black metal albums of the year because it's
Thank
something
you.
something a little different. It was like, it's not your straightforward black metal. There's a lot of atmosphere building going on there, like a lot of nice melodies, violins, everything like that. I know that you've called this project quite personal to you. Um, and I imagine like, putting it on a canvas and sending it out to the world was quite, relaxing, therapeutic to do that. What inspired this concept for you?
Uh, the concept was inspired at first by one of my personal accidents that happened in life, obviously. Yeah, but the main reason after this accident happened was to uh, anyone who can hear this album can reflect with this, because grief for me is everywhere. Well, you can lose a loved one. The war happened right now. It's everywhere. People are dying. So for me to create this album was to reflect to anyone that has gone through this. Yeah. So yeah, that's what it. It started uh, by my personal accident, and then goes through this. And the reason you said that it wasn't typical black metal, it was more melodic, and I think it was wrong that it was labeled as Hellenic Black Metal, because when you see Hellenic Black Metal, you expect to hear something like Barathron or Rotten Christ or whatever. And yes, it was. I wanted to put my passion and view on it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's
Right.
awesome, man. I like how you've tied it to a personal thing that happened to you, but also, like you said, it's kind of a timeless classic in a way, because I feel like anybody going through something can relate to the album and, find some comfort from listening to it. Because also, like, with grief, it's quite a complicated thing. And I think, the fact that you've broken it down into the different stages and like, every song feels like that emotion. So, but I think it's cool that you've done it that way. And I think a lot of people can resonate with it and find something of value with it.
Yes, and it's definitely a hard listening album. It's hard to listen because it has many styles in there. It has many post and black metal and even rock and even some jazz drums. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and like the whole album as like the whole album as a whole, I find it really interesting because it has like an overall like it has like a somber feeling almost throughout, but then kind of ends positively with the last song. Um, and I think all elements really flow into each other really well. So like you have like the obviously the somber elements sort of being like shown with either like violin or like clean guitars. But then you've just got these super brutal bits that just seem to just come out of nowhere and really bring up the previous bit massively and just work well with it. So like for you, what was like the challenge that you had with sort of like melding all these together and working through them in that way?
Firstly, I wanted to end the album. I wanted to end it positively. I didn't want to end it depressively. I don't like that depressive thing in grief where you, let's say, someone a loved one dies, you are you can't move on. I wanted to express the audience to move on with their lives, whatever happens. So yeah, you asked me about how uh, I structure every song.
Yeah, so like how you like because there's so many bits going in between everything. Like what is your secret to sort of like mixing them together and making sure they all work well with each other?
Mm, I think it's just came naturally. I've uh, I've just recorded demos and it came naturally. But when I was listening to the song, I said, okay, this is the concept, and it was close to my personal thing. So yeah, I think it came naturally.
Mm.
Uh, I didn't want to put violin on depression or here or here. Just came naturally.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting, like Nathan said as well, because there is a lot of different genres, and it's not just black metal in there. Are you like a fan of like jazz music and a lot of violin work, or was it just something that you felt was just right for the album, or are you a fan of this kind of music anyway, and that's why you decided to implement it in there?
Uh, I'm not a huge fan of jazz, but I listen to some jazz. Um, I listen to a lot of genres. I don't listen only black metal or so. Yeah, I think through all these years of music, when you try to compose something, it just came naturally. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I
And
feel like he definitely came out with something special though, because my girlfriend notoriously does not like black metal. Like it's just a genre she doesn't meld with that well. Same with like death metal, but like when I was playing the album like earlier on, she was like, "Oh, I actually don't hate it. This is actually really nice." So that's how you can tell you made a good album.
Actually, I hear this from most people that
Oh,
even
really?
in pop scene, they just listen to pop and they are okay listening to this album. The funny thing is that uh, pop people or rock and roll, whatever, not black metal or metal in general, they like it more than true black metal fans. It's quite funny that, and it's okay because a black metal fan wanted to listen to blast beats in high BPM or more cold riffs, more harsh vocals. So yeah, it's pretty okay,
oh
pretty
yeah, like
fine.
most black metal fans will be like, "This sounds great. It was recorded on one microphone, 2 miles away," like, and they'll be like, "It's the best thing ever in it," and you're just there like, "Yeah, yeah."
Something like this was my first EP, my demo EP, the first release of the band. Yeah, it was pretty raw,
Yeah. I mean,
but it was yes.
I do like it because it's like it does go back to the origins of black metal, but like
Mm.
I like more how like black metal has become over the years, where everyone's sort of taking bits from each different genre and put it in. Because I think black metal as a genre, it's so like objective from the start that you can really put anything in there, and it just automatically just works for some reason. It's amazing. It's an amazing genre for that.
That's why I like black metal because I was in rock for many years. For my father, he has many vinyls of rock bands, Dire Straits, Pink Floyd, and I started listening to black metal around 1920. I was pretty late, and what got me. Uh, I became passionate with it because you can put many elements here from whatever style and genre, and still blends together.
Do you remember
Oh,
like the first black metal band that you listened to and you fully got into it? Like what was your gateway band?
Uh, Definitely Rodin Christ.
Oh, of
Yeah,
course, yeah.
yeah. It was smoother because they are more melodic, and I really like their Dead Poem, Sleep of the Angels, which is not black metal how we know it, but yeah, it was much smoother. And then I go into 90s stuff, Mayhem, Dark Throne, Emperor.
oh yeah. It's I think it's still amazing. Like there's like that those bands have just got such a pull on the genre still. Like you find with like a lot of like metal genres in general, like the people that like originally like sort of started it or like the first couple ones, a lot of younger generations now will be getting into like what really listen to them. But I think found like black metal, those bands still are the ones that you go, I'm gonna check them out. Like that's what's amazing about it. They've got such a unique pull to the genre.
Yeah, definitely, because I don't know, these bands have something unique you can't express. Even if you are into rock and you are open-minded in music or into pop or whatever, these bands have something unique. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
I
Oh
wanted
yeah,
to ask as well, because I know that you mentioned earlier about Hellenic Black Metal. I've never actually heard of that genre before. What is it exactly?
It's not exactly a genre, maybe it is, but Hellenic black metal it started more melodic than the Norwegian stuff because it was more cold and more aggressive. Yes, Hellenic black metal was more melodic, romantic, and yeah, that's it. I think it's not exactly a genre, but yeah, we are more melodic, more another rhythms patterns. So yeah,
Have you always been like more drawn to like the melodic side of black metal then, as opposed to? Because I know you mentioned your first EP was, a lot more raw and maybe traditional black metal. What kind of pulled you to go into more melodic roots?
mm, I really like the melodic stuff in everywhere in music. So yeah, I to be honest, I don't listen so much in melodic black metal, but I like my melodies in everything in music. So yeah, melodies is everything for me. I'm not so much into riffing. I like riffs obviously, but I want my melodies. Yeah,
oh
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
I think that's such an important thing as well because I think like you could like you as a guitarist you could be the best riffer ever,
mm.
but if your melodies aren't there, you don't have a song. And I
Yeah,
think it's
definitely.
so important that you keep that as a priority. because a lot of people don't, and like I think a lot of times when you get like people that will go only focus on riffing and nothing about melodies, you end up just getting like kind of riff soup at the end of it, which like yeah, this is good if you know how to play guitar and like you're gonna nerd out about like oh yeah that's so hard to play, but without melody no one can listen to it, and I think that's so important.
Definitely. That's why I don't listen my home thrash or death. I like going to the gigs and listen to thrash or more old school death. But when I am in my home, I don't know. I want something more chill, more melodic to feel like. Yeah, for me, thrash or old school death or riffing music is more for a gig to because it's more face to face music. I don't know, but yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah,
know,
that's
I
fair.
completely get you there because like I found like sometimes like I'll listen to like a death metal or thrash metal band like on streaming, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm not a massive fan, but then I'll see them live and I go, oh yeah, I've completely changed my mind. They
Yeah,
were
yeah,
really good.
definitely.
Like I
Yes.
think there's somewhat lost with thrash or death metal when you listen to it only on streaming.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. And streaming and going to a gig is a really different place. So yeah, I think that kind of music, more riffing music, is for gigs, and it's
Right.
pretty good. It's good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think as well, because we're at the time now in like 2024 where there probably has been like the heaviest band in the world like over and over and over again. But I think sometimes like something melodic and something dark in itself can be more heavy than something that's just straight blasting. And I'll always look for that first, I think, than like, just straightforward, like just riffing all the way through. Because yeah, on paper it seems heavier, but I think, with the emotions and like the way it carries itself with the melodies can be more heavy in some other aspects.
Yeah, definitely. The atmosphere plays a big role in a song, even if it's just the simplest riff or simplest melody or just simple drums. The atmosphere plays a big role.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
But obviously, we like good riffs and everything.
Oh yeah.
Everything has his parts. His part. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. What would you say like from listening to like black metal, what would you say are the most underrated bands in your opinion?
Underrated band. Mm, I don't know. Actually, I'm not into black metal. Into black metal anymore. I'm more into post scene. So yeah, uh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I can answer this because right now, the past 2 years, I am listening more post scene, like or black gaze, uh, I should say. So there is bands. Yeah, maybe when they are from Greece, Varathron, because they're never picked. They are pretty big bands, but they're always steady in their career.
Oh yeah.
Awesome, yeah.
Oh yeah. On like Greek bands and the Greek metal scene as a whole, what would you say is like because I know from visiting when we went to Heraklion, there was we got to speak went to a metal bar and we got to speaking to like a few people from there, and everyone sort of said, "Look, the metal scene in Greece is amazing, but it's so spread out, and it's very hard to find bands outside of Athens." Is that something you sort of agree with? What are some like the challenges you've had from being a band in Greece as well?
The challenge in terms of reaching to other metal fans, these challenges. Maybe I
Y-
didn't understand your questions.
Yeah,
Your
so
question.
like it was kind of like two questions in one. So like from what we've gathered from it was that the consensus was that it is kind of spread out, but you also don't get like a lot of bands coming out anywhere from Greece outside of Athens or like tour like for gigs or touring or anything like that. So it can be quite hard to sort of see bands live. And then the like second part of the question was like, what are some of the challenges that you've seen as someone from Greece in a band, like that you've faced yourself?
Okay, yes, the first question. If you are living in Athens, it's pretty easy to see many bands. But if you are outside of Athens, actually, I moved to Athens 4 months ago. Yeah. Uh, I was in my hometown called Patras. Um, and it's pretty hard if you are outside of Athens to see uh, and big names or even middle bands because the all bands came to Athens. So yeah, if you're living in Athens, it's pretty easy. But if you're outside, yeah, it's hard because the transportation is expensive. So yeah. And the second question for bands, uh, it, for me, the most difficult thing is to recruit a band. Yeah, I think this is the most difficult thing. That's why there are so many one-man bands. Because when you are in a band with 4 people, yeah, it's pretty hard. Because one people it's pretty passionate with it, another it's another working 12 hours a day. So yeah, I think this is the most hard part.
Oh yeah. Like because when we were over there was a guy called Nico, one of the nicest guys I've ever met. But he was saying like he went honestly, I have to get like a flame plat like I have to fly just to see a band I like. And he was like, it's ridiculous. But he was like he was also in a band and he was like, oh yeah, I met him all through college and he
To
said it was
fly
so
inside Greece.
yeah, so he's got to
Oh,
fly from because
maybe.
like where we were staying was like it was slightly off. It was
Mm,
slightly off of Athens. So like he said he like for me to see a band I have to fucking just go to the airport,
yeah,
fly to
yeah.
Athens for the day and then come back. Which I thought that was crazy because obviously being from like the UK, we're pretty spoilt for like the worst travel we have to do is like if a band only plays London, it's like, oh, I've got to get a train for 2 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. The transportation in Greece is pretty bad. Only if you are in Athens, which is okay. Yeah.
Yeah, very true. I want to ask, I want to go back to Five Stages of Grief for a second. Because again, one thing that I really liked about the album is that so every song's about, different stage of grief, but they all kind of sound like that emotion. Like, you've got a song like Bargaining, which is quite aggressive, but then you've got a song like Depression, which is more somber tones. Was this intentional to like make the sound of the song sound like the emotion, or was it just something that you decided afterwards?
Um, the main, I think I decided afterwards where this is denial, this is hate, this is bargaining. But the songs came naturally, and I remember when writing bargaining. Uh, I think I was in that stage that time. It came so naturally. I composed the song in like 2 days. Everything, and this is pretty interesting because I was going through the stage actually. Maybe not exactly bargaining, maybe some hate, maybe some depression, but the feelings you get, it's pretty interesting when you compose the song. And yes, afterwards, when I finished all songs, I chose this denial, this hate, but it wasn't that hard uh, because when I was listening the song, I already feeling the emotion, so I picked it really easy.
Oh, so when you were going through the stages, you were writing the songs as you were going through each one.
Yeah, it was not intentionally to go through this, but yeah, it happens. So yeah, it just came out.
that's really interesting to be fair. Like with it being so personal for you, was it like was there like any sort of reservation on releasing it? Like sort of like almost like a fear of like, well, I don't know if I want to show this side fully or was it just a case of no, this might help people, so I wanna put it out there.
Yeah, that was my take to actually help people because I knew it isn't an album for everyone. And but for me, if only 5 people resonate with it, I'm I'm pretty good with this. And it actually goes pretty well, and with vinyls, the streaming. So yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, and you produced honestly a great album, dude, and it's super good. Like, when I was listening to like the bunch of albums that day, that was the one that shone out to me because it felt raw and it felt real and it felt, just a very good listen. And yeah, it's I've had it on repeat since it's come out, so you've definitely smashed it there, man.
And I've seen from many reviews that they like that it was organic in the drums and
That's real.
the everything.
Yeah,
Oh
no,
yeah.
exactly. Because I think me and Nathan have talked about this before, but sometimes you get like a big band that, when they first were making albums, they were really feeling something. But then when it gets further along the career, when they're successful and stuff, they might just try and do an album like the old days, but they aren't really feeling that as emotions anymore. And it doesn't come across like very real. So you can tell from this album that it was, like I said, organic, it was real, it felt like a real album.
Yeah, and that's for me. Bands they should take the time to make an album, but if a band is making a living from it, well, obviously they are having to make things faster. So yeah, I understand this obviously because they're making a living. But yeah, every artist have to take time to make an album. Uh, yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely agree, and I also really like how the intention was to help people because, like, I've always said, like, when it comes to metal, obviously metal as a genre just delves more into the darker sort of feelings a person might have. But I think my biggest pet peeve with metal sometimes is that it ultimately doesn't tell anyone that might go through it that they how to deal with it or that they might not be alone in that situation. So I think like you going out with the intent of going, no, I actually really want to help people here. And I think it genuinely reflects on the album because I remember listening to it and when I listened to the end song, the it was almost the end song was filled with hope, which I think was just such a great message to sort of put across musically.
Yeah, because right now there's many depressive music, I should say, and hopefulness. So yeah, I want to make something more positive, um, because we're living in a world where everything not collapses. I don't want to be dramatic, but yeah, it's not easy to live. So yeah, I want to give a positive message to people to move on with their lives.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and I
Whatever happens, yes, whatever happens.
yeah, I appreciate you for doing that because I think like it is something that not a lot of people do. I think it is a really important message to have out there.
Yeah, that's why I actually stopped listening to DSBM and stuff like this because uh, they say that depressive music makes you better, but for me it doesn't. I don't know. Yeah, that's why my favorite band right now is Alcest because they give
Mm.
a really positive vibe to just keep going with everything. And I really feel and I like this.
Oh yeah, I think like that's one thing that drew me to hardcore as well. Like I found like with a lot of metal, I if I was listening to it in a bad headspace, it only sort of amplify it, but it wouldn't like help it. But like if it sounds really stupid, but like if I listen to like a Hatebreed song, it's angry, but like when you actually listen to like like the lyrics, you're actually like, oh my God, I feel this way. Not only am I not alone in feeling this way, but
Mm,
like it's telling me just keep fucking going, face it, just do it,
yes.
and that's why I loved that genre of music the most, and that's why I gravitate to it because I think it not only does it tell you you're not alone in how you feel, but it also says it gives you a good message of just face it, wake up every day and just carry on.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Uh, every music has its place, but
Yeah.
I think all the melancholic stuff and depressive stuff can be really hopeful and positive.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with like Nathan as well. Like, here's a reason, like, if I'm feeling a bit down or need some motivation, I usually will go to hardcore. But yeah, occasionally you do get bands like yourself, we're creating this album that's, more of a hopeful feeling than I guess some of the other black metal that you would get out of there. But also stuff like me and Nathan are a massive fan of are you familiar with a band called Mole from Denmark?
Oh yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, we
I
love
really
them
like
because
them.
like we
Yes.
spoke to Kim from Mole and like he was just saying like how this his latest album Diorama was meant to be like more of a hurtful feeling, just like getting over trauma, and you can hear it in the album, like even if you don't listen to the lyrics, you just get that sort of energy feeling from the album. It's weird, but it's that's what I do like, and I think there is occasionally some great metal bands and hardcore bands that do that, and it's nice to resonate with it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I really like them all. They're really, really good.
Oh yeah, like shoegaze and black metal on paper, you'd be like, you're crazy. But then they did it,
Yeah.
and you're there like, that's amazing. That's that. In
Yeah,
fact,
for
that's
me it's
so good.
the better combination ever. It's I don't know. It's just genius this combination. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's so like section of like the shoegaze sections are great, just as shoegaze sections. Like you
Mm.
could just release an album of just that, and it'd be like one of the best shoegaze albums ever. The black metal sections are amazing, but the minute they collide as well, you're like, it's amazing. Like every single part of that band is they're so smart
Yeah,
with
yeah.
how they do it.
I still remember the time that I first listened to Alcest. I was I don't know. I was shocked. I didn't know what I was hearing. It was pretty shock for me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like that's
Since
how I felt the same way with Mo. Like we listened to Diorama before we interviewed him, and like I'd never heard shoegaze
Mm.
black metal before,
Me
and I
neither.
was just sat there like, oh my god,
Yeah.
this is
Also me.
this is so good.
Didn't hear. I never had shoegaze before black metal. When I was going into Alcest and shoegaze with black metal, I started listening to shoegaze. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to give more of a listen to Alcest. One what I've listened to, I do really like them. And it's interesting that, they do have that, hurtful feeling from what I've listened to. But Alcest are an instrumental band as well, so it's quite impressive how they've managed to give those feelings without any lyrics at all. If I'm correct, that is Alcest, they are
Uh,
instrumental,
they
right?
they're not exactly instrumental. In some songs, they have some inspired lyrics.
Ah,
They're not actually lyrics, words. They are, I think, they are from fantasies or something like this. But yeah, they're not actually words and lyrics. Uh, but there are many songs that uh, there are lyrics that are making sense. Uh, but for me, they're the music that they're really hopeful and melancholic and everything I like.
oh yeah, man. So I want to get into what are your hobbies and interests then? So when you're not making black metal, what do you get up to for fun?
Uh, I think everything post rock, post metal. Yeah, what I hear or what I'm making, I compose or something.
Oh, I meant what do you get up to for fun? So besides music and when you're writing, what are your
Oh,
hobbies?
oh, okay. Sorry. Understand. Hobbies. Yeah, I'm studying data analyst, data analytics. So yeah, that's one of my, let's say,
Oh, nice.
hobbies. Yes, my bachelor is in economics, and then I go through data analytics. I really like that. Uh, Going for a walk, especially in mountains. Uh, Playing games. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just the boring stuff. I
Oh, that's
think
cool,
I'm.
man.
Yeah, watching movies, series, playing games. Yeah.
It's interesting because like so data analyst is that coding? Like doing like programming languages and stuff?
Yeah, not full coding like a programmer, but yeah, has something from this.
There's some like
Sure.
quite funny coincidence or correlation between because we've interviewed like a few black metal bands and a lot of them do like programming or coding. So I'm wondering like what's the correlation there? Because I think we were speaking to a really great black metal like one man band called Limnos from Brazil, like one of my absolute
Yeah, I
favorites.
know them.
And he was he was a programmer as well. I'm just like there must be something about black metal and coding.
maybe.
Well, that's the thing though. Most people into metal, it's just a weird like connection I've noticed. Like either go into like they'll like work in either like a warehouse is the second most common, or IT related tech stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what is the connection? Because I work in IT as well myself, and the amount of people I've met from working in IT who are also into metal, I'm there like, what is it about IT that's making people go, I'm so fucking pissed off and I just need to listen to someone scream for a little bit? Like,
Yeah, I've actually worked as an IT for I think 5 months before I came to Athens. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think uh, because when you compose music, you're writing music, you are in yourself in your house, and maybe that's why it connects with programmers. Because when we're programming something or writing something or in a language or whatever, you are again in yourself in your house or in your work, but it's more. Uh, how should I say it? More close feeling. I don't know. More close to you.
oh yeah, you know what? I actually that makes a lot of sense. I've never really had anyone like say it in that way because like it does make a lot of sense because like a lot of people that work in tech industry, 9 out of 10 times they're working from home,
Yeah,
and like a lot of the
yeah.
people
That's
that
why I
like
say
the
from home because remote it's everywhere right now, especially in tech companies. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, no, it makes complete sense. Like for like anyone that like wants to be into metal and listen to it all the time, they're at home all day so they can listen to it. Or if they want to make music, they can straight away after finishing work, they can
yeah.
start doing it. So like that's probably why there's so many people that also choose those jobs that listen to metal. So that makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, actually, when I was in the IT job, in the breaks, I was just putting my audio interface with my guitar. I just plug in and just start writing for 20 minutes when the break ends, and then I was starting working again.
That's
Yeah,
that's that's also what I do. Like sometimes on my break, because I've been demoing with my band at the moment, and I've been teaching myself how to like mix music whilst demoing. So when I'm on my break, I'll just plug my MacBook in and I'll sit there for half an hour, just like trying to mix like vocals or like guitars or drums for a little bit, and then just get back straight to work. And then when I finish, I'll go back on and start it again.
yeah. Maybe because you are alert from the job and more energetic, you are want to write music, or so. Maybe that's why it works.
Yeah, for sure. I think I think as well, like, with black metal, like I said, there's a lot of one-man bands in black metal.
Oh yeah, I also think that's what the
I think you caught out there, Nathan, a bit.
I'm freezing or
Oh no,
Nathan
you're good.
freezing.
yeah, I did a
I
little
think
bit
Nathan's
there. I was
freezing.
a
Oh,
little bit
Oh, it's
lag
fine.
okay.
there.
What were you saying, Nathan? You might have to
No, no,
cut back a
I
bit.
was freezing. No, I was a little bit behind. Carry on with your question.
So yeah, so I was saying, yeah, I think with like black metal and I guess being in IT, they're both quite personable sort of jobs, like you are by yourself for a lot of the time, just like kind of working on it, working on the craft. So I wonder if that's like a correlation as well between them.
Uh, the correlation, yeah. Uh, I think we are. What's the English word? um, uh, uh, I don't know. We are more perfectionist. Yeah,
Yeah.
with stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, we're
definitely.
more. Yeah, we're more perfectionist. So and maybe a bit or OCD. OCD. So yeah, I think that's why there is a correlation between this.
Yeah, a nice analogy actually, because yeah, I suppose with coding, like, one thing goes wrong, like everything needs to be perfect because one little step out of line, all the code, everything just goes down, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
that's it's a good analogy. I like it.
And then you can sleep at night if you're thinking about this. So yeah.
Ah, very true, man.
Oh yeah.
So we've got one more question for you. If you were trapped in a zombie apocalypse and you only had your band members, um, so you had to pick one member to be most reliant on and one member to be least reliant on, who would you pick and why?
I think I will rely on the bassist because I play the bass in my other band, which will release the album this year. Uh, so yeah, because I play bass on this band, I think I will rely on the bassist, and the least rely on maybe the drummer because the drummers are a bit lazy. Yeah.
To be fair, like
No offense to drummers, but
We all
to
know
be
it's true
fair,
though.
yeah. To be fair, like I want to make like a compilation of like whenever we've asked this question because it's always the drummers that are getting it. Like it's always the drummers. Everyone goes right. Yeah, fuck the drummer
yeah.
immediately straight away.
Yes, and I think the bassist is always the good guy. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty chill. Every bassist I knew,
I
chill,
mean, hey man,
good
at
guys.
least the bassist finally gets his time to shine. After all these years of slander, he finally gets time to prove himself worthy.
Yes, definitely. And I really like the bass in general.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I've been teaching myself bass recently. So much better than guitar. So much less frustrating. And it sounds really good. Like in terms of like satisfyingness when you're playing it, like it's genuinely really satisfying
Yeah,
to
really
play as well.
satisfying. And that's why in my album I wanted to hear the bass and to put the bass melodies because it's pretty important for me. Because many black metal bands they scoop out the bass or they just play the same note. So yeah, I want it to be important.
Oh yeah, I think there's too many bands that are like go, yeah, we've got a bassist, but you can't hear him in the album. It's
Yes.
like the bass is actually like genuinely such a nice tone to just incorporate. Like it gives you such a great dynamic range to your music. But a lot of people just go, right, play the same thing the guitarist playing. We're going to turn you all the way down.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, man. Like I said, Five Stages of Grief is an amazing album. Should be really proud of it.
Thank
Me and Nathan loved every minute of it. So yeah, all the best, man.
you. Yeah, my thanks. And hopefully, when the next album will be released, we can have another conversation.
Oh,
Absolutely,
definitely,
man.
man. Definitely, man.
Already looking forward to it.
Yeah. One good night. I don't know what time. I think it's right now 9. No.
Yeah, it's about
Yes,
almost
as
nine
about
for us.
9.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Good night. And
Yeah. Good night.
keep going with whatever you do in life and in general.
No worries.
You
Thank you,
too,
man.
man.
You too.
All the
Bye.
best.